And welcome to another edition of Mailbag. And like in the previous set of mailbags, I'm recording a single header for many answers that you guys have left on the channel, and there is a lot to go through this evening. So before we get going, remember these are mailbag questions and comments that you guys leave on the channel that are well worth actually sharing with the wider community. But before we start, we always go through parish notices, which are, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, why not? Hit the subscribe icon. If you want to be notified about when videos hit the channel about things like this thing that's just off shop, which is the IDA 2400, that's the bell icon. If you like the contents of the video you're just about to watch, you know what, please give it a thumbs up. It really helps the video on the YouTube algorithm. Also, leave comments down below. I do read them, I respond to them, and that's the reason why we're having this mailbag conversation now. And finally, for less than the price of a cup of coffee, consider supporting the channel by becoming a member of the TMTG community. The address is down below, as are the Instagram and Facebook tags where the normal channel notices are posted. But now back to this particular mailbag. And the next one comes from Sean Curran. In response to a Sunday morning rant I did about a leaflet called Tokyo 87, done in September 2020. And Sean writes, hey John, love the video, can't resist drum talk when it comes up in your videos. As an early Yamaha percussion fanboy, I truly never got on board with the PCM-1 percussion set. It felt like a step backwards to me. Gone was the dedicated percussion tone module, the PTX8, basically a rack mount RX5 drum module. Secondly, they isolated existing customers, me, by changing from TRS to XLR cables. This meant that the existing D-pads would not work with the new brain. Genius, that one, I have to be honest. Or worse, new pads couldn't be used with the PTX 8 module, only over MIDI. Honestly, I think 87 marked the decline of Yamaha in the electronics drum market, and why they continue to trail second place behind Roland to this date. It took another 7 years before Yamaha got back into the electronics percussion game. Ironically, neither did the RM50 or the TMX modules work with the PCM-1 pads, but did work with older D pads. Kind of a shame really, as my 86 Yamaha D8 electronic kit is still one of my absolute favourites. Yes, even above the beloved Octopad. Now Sean, I know, has an Octopad, and I keep threatening to buy an Octopad, but I haven't got round to it yet, and probably nor will I for a foreseeable future. You know, I just know that Sean loves anything drum. I mean, that's kind of his raison d'etre. He's kind of a drum and bass man, drum and beats man. I probably would say, given the feedback he's given. Back in time, I briefly had an RX5. And I partly exchanged it for something else. And I kind of look back on it now and think I shouldn't have done that. But that's where we were. The RX series were solid drum machines. But as I've said before, I always consider the sampler market stopped the drum machine. And if you think about it, that was all of a sudden everybody started sampling drum kits rather than actually buying drum machines with drum kits in them. And I think many manufacturers just pulled their equipment from the market based on that. Any more drum talk to come? Well, anyway, there is more drum talk to come, Sean, so watch this space. Next one comes from Victor Thomas, or Thomas, I think it is actually more correctly pronounced. And this was in response to upgrading the Roland System-1 firmware to version 1.3, a video I did in January 2020. And he writes, 1.16, I do that, key hold and turn it on, but it only turns on with the key hold light, not the 4 lights. Am I French Connection UK'd? Obviously, the problem with diagnosing anything like this over email and through comments is not the easiest thing to do. But what I wrote back to Thomas is kind of how my troubleshooting thinking would be. And these are the things I would do. So first of all is if there were any custom patches, I would back them up. Okay, and there will be a link to that video that shows you how to do that down below. Do a factory reset. That's always a good get you out of jail card, because this will load the factory settings back in from the internal ROM of the System-1. Link to that one also below. The second thing is to see if there is an upgrade file stuck in the upgrade folder, because that could be what's causing your problem. So what you need to do is try and put the unit into upgrade mode, connect your computer to it and see if there's a System-1 file there, because there shouldn't be. If it's done the upgrade properly, the file is effectively deleted from that location as part of the upgrade process. So if there is still a file there, what you need to do is delete it, switch the machine off, and try and go through the upgrade process again by putting a new fresh file into that location when you connect it to the computer. And the last thing I would do at this point is, if all of the above three fail, then I'm afraid it's a phone call to Roland support, because this is kind of something wrong with the embedded firmware, and they may need to give you some keystroke combinations that will get it out of this unbunged mode that it currently is in. Hopefully my thinking process and the diagnosis steps I would go through help you, but if they don't, unfortunately it's Roland. Okay, next one comes from Simon Morton in response to how to back and restore patches on the Roland System-1. And Simon writes, super useful, thanks. I assume if you buy a new bank from somewhere, you just restore the new patches as per your instructions and overwrite what's on the System-1. You have the best little shed in Britain too. I think he's referring to my workshop. And I have to be honest, I'm actually really pleased with the workshop. I mean, I have to really thank the housemates that I live with, because they have no use for that space. They kind of allow me to use it as a workshop, although I have to be honest and say in recent weeks I haven't been out there very much because it's very cold. Anyway, basically what you describe is completely correct. That's exactly how you do it. A number of people are selling patches for the System-1. They provide those patches as a zip file, you unzip them, and effectively what you do is you back up the System-1 and then you run the restore process and you add the patches that you've unzipped into the restore folder and it loads them all in. I mean, it's so simple, it's genius compared with the upgrade process that you have to go through on this thing. That is actually really easy. And as I say, my little workshop is a bit cold at the moment, and when it warms up I will be out there doing some mend videos and a lot of repair and maintenance stuff that I've kind of been putting off for the last 2 years. So watch out for that sort of stuff coming through.